Jesus told a particular type of story. It's a story which is simple, but it has a deeper meaning. And he told quite a few of these in the Gospels. Does anybody know the name we give a simple story with a deeper meaning, which is in the Bible? Does anyone know? It's a word which begins with P or P. Does anyone know that word? A few hesitant hands. Jesus told a number of. Do you know? Not sure? Forgotten? Yes? That's a great P word. It's not the one I'm after. It's a type of story which has a deeper meaning.
Purpose.
Oh, great P word. Not the one I'm after. One more. Did you say parable? Well done. I think that deserves a point. Let's say that word together. Parable.
Parable.
A parable, remember, is a simple story with a deeper meaning. This parable is the parable of the... Oh, I'm not telling you just yet. There's a cliffhanger before I've even started. Now, let me explain why Jesus told this parable. He knew that lots and lots of people in his day, and I think even today, had or have a misconception, a wrong understanding of what God is really like. You see, lots of people in Jesus' day, and even today, think or thought that God is a bit like this. Very distant, not close to us, very grumpy and strict, and just waiting for us to do one wrong thing before we're in big trouble. Lots of people thought God was like that when Jesus came to the earth. But he said to them, God's not like that. He said, I can tell you what God's like. No one else can, because they haven't come from God. But he said to the crowds of people that he had come from God, and that's why he could tell people what God was really like. Now, some people, when they heard this, they thought, whoa, he came from God. I think Jesus is a little bit crazy. Other people thought, well, if Jesus did come from God, then he would be able to do amazing things. And we do see him do amazing things. Healing blind people and deaf people and people who can't walk properly. We see it all the time. So I guess he must have come from God. People were divided. Even today, people are divided. So each of us has to make up our own mind by listening to the evidence and working it out for ourselves. So, this story, I've got some great helpers with me who are going to help me tell the story. I'm going to be the narrator, and these two great actors are going to mime what we do. So when I narrate something, you put it into action. So if I say, his face fell, then you would show a sad face. If I said, they leapt for joy, guess what you do? You've got it. So we pick people who are calm but lively when needed. Fantastic. So, can I trouble you to sit down right there, and you to go sit down over there for me? Wonderful. Let's start the story. Jesus said, there was a father who had 2 sons. There they are. It's quite easy to draw people. 1, 2, 3. Now, the father loved his sons. He loved them, and they knew it. They worked with him on his land. We had such a good thing going, didn't we? He was wealthy because he had his own land. They were a good family unit, or so he thought. What he didn't know was that one of the sons, deep in his heart, which is about there, was feeling frustrated, disillusioned, fed up. It had been okay for a while on his father's land, but now it cracked his style. He knew that in the city, on the hill, there was a lot of fun to be had, or so he'd heard. But here he was, stuck with his dad, following orders all the time. He longed to be free, but how could he? He didn't have any money. So, ding, he had an idea. I will go to my dad and I will ask him, but I don't know what his reaction will be. He might be really mad, but do you know what? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Let's take a risk. Come on then. So he took some nervous, tentative steps towards his father and said to his dad, Dad. His father scratched his chin. I said, yes. The son said, when you die, the father scratched his chin and said, yes. The son said, I'll get half of all your stuff. The father scratched his head and said, yes. The son said, that might be ages. Please, can I have it now? Hands up if your dad would go crazy if you asked him that question today. Whoa! I can just imagine. Okay, hands down. The son shielded himself. He braced himself for the response. The dad scratched his chin, nodded, and handed his son bags and bags of money. Whoa. The son couldn't believe his eyes. Look at the money. He was in disbelief. He leapt for joy. Oh, be careful not to drop all his money. He gave his dad a high five. Oh, and skipped off happily. Now, his father, his poor father, watched him with a heavy heart. Oh, why did he have to leave? Why did he have to go and find himself? Why do people say things like that? Why does he need to go and have fun? Why can't it be fun here with me? But if he needs to go, I'll let him go. I won't imprison him, if that makes him so sad to be here with me. But I hope and I pray that one day I will see him again. And with a very heavy heart, he got on with his work. The son, meanwhile, joined the throngs of people making their way to the bright lights of the big city. Some people were going to trade things, to sell stuff. Others were going shopping. Some were going to visit family. But still others were looking for fun. As he arrived in the town, he looked around at the crowds of people. He'd never seen so many people. He looked up and around at the grand buildings. Wow, he'd never been anywhere like this before. He was a little bit nervous and a little bit excited, all rolled into one. But because he was new and looked it, and because his pockets were bulging with money, it wasn't long before he found some new friends. Oh, I think you're new. Let me show you round and let me help you spend your money. We're going to have such a good time. I'm going to show you where all the fun is. I'm going to take you to all the best places. And guess what? You're paying. That's going to be so exciting for me. Now, it says that the son spent his money in wild living. Wild living. But because this is a primary school, there are only certain aspects of wild living I'm allowed to discuss. But I think there was probably loads of food. Whoa! Yes. Get the food in! No one's looking. Just start. Nobody cares. Come on, let's go of course, you've got to wash it down with something. Big, big drinks. You know the sort of stuff that you're not allowed to have or even know about? You know what I'm talking about? Shh, don't tell anyone. We drank loads, didn't we? And then, just when you're feeling kind of relaxed, let's put the music on!
Yeah!
Show me some moves! That's good. Oh, come on. I just had a thought. Check your pockets. Make sure there's still more money for parties. Is that always great? Come on, keep going. Yeah. Check your pockets again. Go deeper, deeper. Oh my days. He held his head in disbelief and shock and bewilderment and other powerful story words. It can't all be gone. But we were having such a good time. And now this is a catastrophe, a disaster. Don't worry, because you've got all those friends. Remember all the friends you had? Oh, where are they? Where have all your friends gone? They've probably just gone home. Go knock on the door. I'm sure your friends will help you. So he knocked on the first door. His friend came to the door. Oh, what do you want? He said, I can't afford my rent anymore. Ooh, what, you're homeless? Oh, have you got a spare bedroom? Oh, what, you're begging to come into my house? Oh, we don't have homeless people staying with us. Go away quick before the neighbours see you. Oh, that wasn't very nice. Try the next door. His friend came to the door. Oh, what do you want? He rubbed his tummy with hunger. I haven't eaten for days. Oh, but you're begging for food on my doorstep. Oh, that's so common. Go away before I call the police. Try the next few doors. The same response at every single door. Do you think these people were true friends? No, not at all. They just wanted what they could get. So here's a challenge. If you have a true friend, really look after them and value them. And make sure that you are a true friend to someone in the good times and the bad, not only when they give you things. Oh dear. I want you to think and nod if you can imagine what he's feeling right now. Can you imagine how he feels? That's great because you're starting to empathise and share his feelings. This is really bad. You're homeless, you're starving. You'll have to get a job. That's a great idea, a job! Go and knock on the farmer's door. Farmers have always got jobs. The farmer was very pleased to see him and handed him a bucket. Here's the bucket. And told him to go and feed his animals. Oh, look in the bucket. Oh, I just want you to imagine at the end of school dinners, everybody lined up and scraped all their leftovers into a bucket. That's what it looked like in there. So, but it's okay, it's not for you, it's for the animals. And feeding animals is a lot nicer than cleaning them out. Yeah? So, go feed the animals. But you know what? As he set off and got closer and closer, he realised, oh my days, what's that smell? He held his nose. There was the most awful stench that he had ever whiffed. That stinks. It was an animal that he'd never come across before. Because you see, he was Jewish. And Jewish people weren't supposed to go near these animals. What he didn't realise was that the farmer had sent him to feed. Hands up. Hands up. The farmer had sent him to feed the... Which ones? Do you know? Pigs, well done, thank you. In one school they thought they were sheep, and I was very sad about that. So, he sat on a rock and threw the food to the pigs. But you know what? He was so hungry that he looked at the pig's slobs so desperate, so ashamed of what he'd done. You could say that he was completely and utterly, let's put our first key word up. Hands up, don't call out. Hands up. Well done for not calling out. Well done for you. Let's say it together. Lost. Again. Lost. I don't mean that he didn't know where he was. He knew he was in a field on a farm in that city, but he'd lost his way. He'd left his father and lost his way in life. He'd made so many bad choices that now he didn't know what to do anymore. He'd lost his way. And sometimes as we get older, we do that. He thought to himself, here I am, starving in the filth with the pigs, and yet at home, my father's servants have food in their tummies. They have more than they can eat, and a nice warm bed. Oh, there's only one thing for him. He decided that he would go back to his father, fling himself on his father's mercy, beg forgiveness, and ask him to make him into a servant. But how would his father react? Hands up if your father would go crazy. Oh, okay, hands down. Well, you don't know for certain, so don't be too harsh with your dads until this happens. So he set off on the long journey home, thinking, how will my dad react? I brought shame on him. I've squandered and wasted half of his money. I'm filthy. I brought shame on my family. How will he react? What he didn't know was that from the moment his son had left, the father had not stopped watching the road, looking for signs of his son coming back. And when he saw his son still a long way off, he ran to him. When the son saw his father running, I think he thought, oh geez, I am so in trouble. He's running at me. And he braced himself. He fell to his knees and he cried out, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am not worthy to be called your son, but make me a servant, and I will be your servant forever. And he waited for the reply. But the father said to him, my son, you were lost, but now, hands up. Well done, people, really come for you. Let's sing together. Now you are found. He helped his son to his feet. He flung his arms around him. Oh. He put a cloak around his shoulders to hide his filthy rags, clean shoes on his feet, a gold ring on his finger to show, you are my son again. He called the servants, waved them over, and he shouted to the servants, let's have a look. He said, quick! He said, quick! My son was, we're going to say this one together. My son was dead again.
Dead.
But now he is too fast for me. Let's say it together. And he told the servants to prepare a feast. Wow, guys, look, come right here. The servants spread the most amazing feast. Wow, this was even better than what was in the city. Guys, let's get stuck in, but we're going to be dignified. This is nice food, we're in good company, but tuck in. And then there was fine vintage drinks, juice, oh, that's nice, that's really nice. And then, now put the music on, show me some moves. Oh, yeah. No, this way. I think you agree that they really are. Now, its power of gold. It is a simple story with a deeper meaning. So come on, St. Paul's Primary School, tell me the deeper meaning. Who is the Father in the story? Who does that Father really represent? Remember why Jesus told the story? Do you know? You're not I thought you were very confident, but you know, that's a great answer. Christians believe the Father in the story represents God, what God is really like according to Jesus. So if the Father is God, there's someone who said to God, nice knowing you, but I've got a life to lead. You can't tell me what to do anymore. I'm going to make my own choices. And then make a bit of a mess of it. And then wanted to come back to God and say, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. It's not about Jesus. It's not about one son. Hands up if you think you know who Jesus is trying to tell us God feels like this about. Who do you think it's really about? What do you think? About me personally. You're on the right track. Me personally, but also all of us. All of us. It's a story Christians believe about God and us. Wow. But you know what? Christians are so convinced of God's love that they know that the greatest symbol of God's love for us isn't just this story, but the fact that He let Jesus go and take all those wrong choices on Himself, which is why the cross is so important to Christians.